I remember that trip like it was yesterday, even though it's been a few years now. I was a junior in college, studying environmental science, and our class had planned this 2-week field study in northern Florida. We were supposed to be tromping through the swamps, identifying birds and plants, learning about ecosystems. Instead, it turned into something out of a nightmare. We couldn't afford fancy hotels on our budget, so our professor booked this big old Airbnb on the outskirts of Tallahassee, a sprawling ranch-style house with enough rooms for all 15 of us students, plus the instructors. The listing looked okay online. Cozy retreat for groups, hosted by friendly couple. Yeah, right. From the moment we pulled up in our rented vans, something felt off. The place was tucked way back on a dirt road, overgrown with Spanish moss hanging like creepy curtains from the oaks. The hosts, Mark and Linda, greeted us at the door. Mark was this burly guy in his 50s, with a faded tattoo peeking out from his shirt collar, and eyes that didn't quite meet yours. Linda was thinner, all smiles, but her laugh sounded forced, like she was reading from a script.
"Welcome, y'all. We got fresh towels inside, but you'll have to ask if you need extras," she said,
handing over a single key ring with a bunch of identical keys.
"These work on all the doors. Makes it easier for big groups like yours."
I shared a room with 2 other girls, Sarah and Mia. We were all excited at first, unpacking our bug spray and notebooks. But that night, things got weird. Sarah tried her key on what she thought was our bathroom door, but it opened into another student's room.
"Oh my god, sorry!"
she yelped, slamming it shut as the guys inside laughed it off. Happened a couple more times. People wandering in accidentally thinking it was their space.
"This is so sketchy,"
Mia whispered to me as we settled in.
"Why don't they have proper locks?"
The hosts hung around a lot, which was unusual for an Airbnb. Mark would pop in unannounced to check the AC. And Linda kept offering us these homemade cookies that tasted like they'd been sitting out for days.
"You girls be careful out there in the woods," she'd say with that fake smile. "Lots of critters and people who might not be so friendly."
I brushed it off as Southern hospitality gone overboard, but it gave me the creeps. Our days were packed with fieldwork, so we crashed early most nights. But on the 4th night, around 1 a.m., I bolted awake to the sound of pounding. It was coming from the wall next to my bed, the thin partition separating our room from the one the host said was off limits for storage. At first, I thought it was a dream, but then the screams started. A woman's voice, raw and terrified.
"Help! He's going to kill me! Please, dear God, help me!"
Sarah sat up, her eyes wide in the dark. "What the hell is that?" Mia was already fumbling for her phone. "It's coming from next door! Oh my God, listen!" The woman kept screaming, words tumbling out in gasps.
"No, please, don't!"
Then a thud, like something heavy hitting the floor, followed by a wet, squelching noise that made my stomach turn. It sounded like flesh being torn. The screams cut off abruptly, replaced by heavy breathing and dragging sounds. We have to call 911, I said, my voice shaking as I grabbed my own phone. My fingers were numb. I could barely dial. "Hello? Yes, there's a woman screaming in the room next to us. She said someone's killing her. Please, hurry!" Our instructors, Mr. Jenkins and Ms. Patel, burst into our room minutes later, wrapped in robes, faces pale. "Everyone out! Get to the living room!" Mr. Jenkins barked. We huddled there, whispering frantically. "Did you hear that squelch?" Sarah asked, her voice breaking. It sounded like blood. The police arrived in about 20 minutes, 2 squad cars with lights flashing but no sirens. Mark and Linda were there too, suddenly appearing from their attached cottage. "What's all this commotion?" Mark asked, his tone too casual, like we'd woken him over a noisy party. The cops went straight to the storage room. We waited outside, shivering in the humid night air. One officer came out, looking grim. "Room's empty," he said to his partner, loud enough for us to hear. But there's blood everywhere, splattered on the walls, pooled on the floor. Drag marks leading to the back door, like something was hauled out. Ms. Patel gasped. Was there a woman in there? Another guest? The cop shook his head. No sign of anyone now, but this looks bad. We're going to need statements from all of you. They roused the whole class, shining flashlights in faces, asking questions. Did you see anyone else here besides the hosts? One asked me. I told them about the screams, the pounding. Mark hovered nearby, arms crossed. It must be some prank, he muttered. Kids these days. Linda chimed in, her voice sugary.
We've had no other guests. That room's just for our stuff. Maybe an animal got in?
But I wasn't buying it. As the police taped off the area, I noticed Linda's hands, reddened like she'd scrubbed them raw. And Mark's truck was parked funny, backed up to the house with the tailgate down. My mind raced. What if they were involved? Serial killers preying on travelers. I'd read stories like that on Reddit, about hosts who lure people in. We didn't stay. Mr. Jenkins herded us into the vans and we drove to a chain hotel in town, paying extra out of pocket. This trip's cursed, Mia said in the back seat, her head on my shoulder. I just want to go home. The next day, the police called our instructors back for more questions. Turns out, the blood was human. Type O positive. Fresh. No body, but they found a woman's purse hidden under the floorboards in that room. Inside, ID for a 28-year-old named Emily Carter, a solo traveler who had booked the Airbnb separately through some off-app deal. She'd checked in the day before us, but no one had seen her. That's when the twist hit. While we were out in the field that afternoon, I got a frantic call from Sarah. Turn on the news! The host! They're wanted! I pulled over the van and we all crowded around my phone. Local station reporting Mark and Linda weren't just shady, they were fugitives. Real names? Harlan and Rita Sykes, suspected in a string of disappearances across the South. They'd been running Airbnbs under aliases, targeting young women, luring them with cheap rates, and then, well, the details were gruesome. Harlan would assault them. Rita would help cover it up. They sold organs on the black market, or so the rumors went. Emily had been their latest victim, screaming for help right next to us. But here's the plot twist that still chills me. One of our classmates, a quiet girl named Becca, had gone missing that morning. We'd thought she was just sleeping in, but her stuff was gone. Police found her phone in Mark's truck. Turns out Linda had slipped her a cookie the night before, planning to grab her next. Becca had woken up disoriented, overheard the hosts arguing about the next one, and snuck out to hide in the woods. She flagged down a passerby and called the cops herself. The satisfying part? They caught Rita that night trying to flee in their truck. Harlan resisted, got tased. Rita broke down crying, spilling everything. Emily's body was found buried shallow in the backyard, stabbed multiple times. Her screams the last thing she managed before he finished her. Becca was safe, though traumatized. The class? We cut the trip short, flew home early. Our professor apologized 1,000,000 times. I should have vetted them better. This story has been loosely inspired from a real story shared by one of our subscribers. This is what she said. On a college trip in North Florida, we stayed at a sketchy inn. Towels required a front desk request, and keycards weren't room-specific, leading to strangers accidentally entering our rooms. Around 1 to 2 a.m., a woman's screams of, "He's going to kill me," and "God help," woke us, followed by a sickening squelch and silence. We called 911 and alerted our instructors, then fled to their room. Police found the neighboring room empty, with blood and drag marks to the door. Our group was evacuated and relocated to another hotel for the week. I've avoided shady inns ever since.